Welcome. It is Kunal Desai from Bulls on Wall Street here with Lucci from Sang Lucci. We're going to talk to you today about market environments, some trade setups, and things like that. But most of all, we're going to shoot the shit. I see you got your beer. What are you sipping on right now?
I was just at the beach, man, because I got shellacked trading, so I went to the
Yeah,
beach.
what happened? What happened, man? Talk to me, man. How bad was it?
No,
Hopefully,
it wasn't that bad, man. I now have I've just this year put the max losses on my account.
okay.
So one of the things I notice about my trading is if I'm gonna have a huge day, I just start off hot and it gets better and better and better.
Yep.
So like I could make 10,000 or 8,000 or if I'm gonna have a really good day.
Right.
But if I start off the day and I lose even like the first couple trades, it just snowballs into like this fiery, abominable, just nasty. It's a nasty thing that it takes like weeks to get out of.
Right.
So we put the max losses on the account, so it's like I'm just stopped out.
So you just
I'm just
stopped out.
stopped
You're
out.
just done. You're just done. All
And
right.
the max loss is really small. The max loss is actually really small.
What
It's
is it? What
probably
is it?
two.
What is it?
I keep it. I got two trading accounts. I keep 2,000 and 2,000.
2 grand,
so
bro? I feel like you could
that's
blow that. I feel like you could blow through that. That's like a stop on one trade, man.
it's how it's got to be for me because even if I lose the first trade, it spirals.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I hear
if
that.
I have a good morning, then like I could go and take it to wherever I feel like.
Yeah,
It just happens to be that once I'm in the hole, you're a grinder. Like I noticed you can get
yeah,
yourself out of the hole. I'm
definitely.
like purely like I'm a momentum person. I think that when
Yeah.
I'm hot, it's just like it's gonna go there, but I could let it spiral out of control so quickly and just go into a ball of fire.
I think everybody can. We all have that capability. I see you've been working out, man. What's up with that? What's up with that,
Yeah,
man?
yeah. It's summertime, baby.
No, it's not. I don't
Summertime.
know where you living. It's cold as
It's
shit over here, man.
Well, it's 100 degrees in Florida right now.
Jeez, man. Who's at the house these days, man? Who's at the house these days?
I got Pastor Blake over here.
Okay.
He's one of our students from Illinois. So he
Okay.
came with his brother, who also took our boot camp, and then one of their friends that's in our swing trade service.
All
And
right.
then Amy Cox, she lives in Italy, and she's down here for a wedding, and so she popped by. These are all my boot camp students.
Nice, man. Nice. I see you got a little halfway house over there, man. Huh?
It's a flop house. It's a flop house.
All right. So let's talk real quick about like market environment right now. I mean, what are your thoughts on this current market right now? I mean, well, let's go back and forth here. What are you trading, and then what are your thoughts on this current environment that we're in right now?
So this market, like at least for me, like the last few weeks, I mean, it's been like, I noticed like so for when I started this business, I used to only trade small cap stocks,
Right.
and then I totally got away with that. As we turned into like a hedge fund, and we were doing more of a different model of stocks. You
When
don't
you
really
say
trade
when you say
small
you were
caps.
trading small caps, though, I mean, how long back are you talking about? Are we talking about 2 years here? Are we talking about a
Three,
year?
four years ago, I was
Okay.
trading small cap stocks, and then
Right.
I really haven't traded them the last couple of years. And then it seems like the last few weeks there's been nothing to trade, but you have
Yeah.
like these weird like low float stocks like DGLY that like they go from $2 to $35. Those are like the only things left to trade. I haven't
So,
seen any of the like I haven't seen any of the momentum stocks really besides Tesla like go on like the run that you
right.
can really make some money on. That's the
Right.
only one I saw that's like a real momentum player like that you could get some size in and trade.
Yeah, you got that GoPro now. You got that GoPro now. Some of the social networks, man, even the banks are starting to come back. So, like in my world, I hear what you're saying. I definitely hear what you're saying. Like, so far this year, when you talk about pure volatility and pure moves and things like that, like it's been very selective. It's obviously been very selective. But some of the swing trades, like for some of these names, like you said, the Tesla, the Netflix, the LinkedIn, a lot of these things, you're talking about 100-point swings. So there's definitely money on the table, but you got to be a lot more
Yeah.
selective. Have you noticed too,
The
like there's not that
GoPro is
much.
like, the GoPro is nuts. I mean, at $45, you're staring at it, go, man, it's really extended. And when it broke out to IPO highs at like $50,
Yeah,
it had been up for like 8 days in a row.
yeah,
So like conventional knowledge of anything you know about trading, stocks up 8 days in a row, it's not going to break out and follow through.
right.
Because as you know, I mean, you're a breakout, breakdown trader traditionally.
Yeah.
Breakouts only work like 50% of the time. But
I would even say, dude, I would even say like even worse. I would say like 30% of the time now. I would honestly cut that number down. I really would in this environment.
Yeah. And if that stock's been up 3-4 days in a row into breakout, it's like almost always gonna fail. And then this sucker just goes another day, another day, another day, another day. I tried shorting it a few times, and it was like, oh boy.
One of the things I'm intrigued with, though, I mean, you said you're DGLY, like in your small cap world, and with stocks with floats and things like that. I mean, you still screen for stuff like this, right? I mean, you still, you know, you'll still throw it out to your boys, right, or your people in your groups, right, to take a look at these things and all that. How you know, how, I guess, stuck on entries and exits are you? Because it looks like this DGLY, this can get away from you pretty quickly if you short early, and, you know, same with GoPro and same with a lot of these names.
Yeah. I mean, you got to read tape and look at the intraday and almost find the cracks. And, I mean, you're scalping your way as it's coming down, and I mean, you're in and out till the big crack comes. And then you have like a core position. But if you try to time it, like in one penny, I mean, it's just not going to work. And DGLY, like we were playing it to the long side. Like I see something like that, my first instinct is always to short it.
Right.
But the environment of low float stocks taking off was just such. I mean, it happened every single week. There was one stock that was going up like 300, 400%.
Right.
So the environment was just that if you see a stock that's been dead, it has a PR. And it has low float, and you get 10, 20, 30 million shares in volume, it's just float rotation. It's float rotation, and you know it goes exponential. You know, the week before is JRJC.
Do you teach your students a lot of the behind the scenes, what's going on in a lot of these low float stocks, or do they just, again, like, are they just looking for the alert and, you know, bam, you just try to short something and they're into the trade? Like, do you feel like your students really understand why, you know, you get a $2 stock and it goes to fucking $32? Do they understand it? Do you feel like they understand it? I feel like half of Twitter does not understand why.
They understand, because I mean we're momentum traders. I mean if there's no momentum, anything that hops in, whether it's $100 stock or $2 stock, whatever has momentum is what we are hopping into. And momentum works the same way in any stock. It's always catalyst, expanding volume, and then low float. Tesla is a low float. Most people don't realize Netflix is an ultra low float stock. Priceline is a low float stock. That's why you can get the $100 move. If Netflix was the same float as Apple, it would move 2 points a day.
Right.
But it's not. It's a low float stock. Netflix has 55 million shares, give or take a couple, afloat. You're talking it's a low float stock. Yeah. It can move.
Absolutely. Give us an example. Give us a rundown here of your trading thus far this year. Let me do mine. Let's see, like beginning of the year, I basically got smoked. Why? Because I was trying to short things, and I don't know. I just got in a bad kind of mental thing. I was like coming out of New York, and I was just going crazy, and I think it was just a bad psychological period for me. And then I just took 2 months off. The summer has been pretty lame, and now I'm basically back in it. What I see right now is I see like a lot of lack of follow through. So it's a lot of scalping here. You know, it feels like you got to hold positions a little bit longer than just a day too. You got to swing into some of these things and slowly build into some. I know that's not really your game, but right now, like, I'm long swing a lot of these financials. Those trades are working out, but it's like you really got to baby these things. You can't get too heavy too early. You know, so that's kind of the environment I'm in. How has your year been, man?
So my year's actually, the last few months have been good. So when I was talking to you in Cabo, when we were in Cabo, you know, I was telling you I'm trying to build myself up to be, you know, a bigger trader, you know, and get to like that 7-figure kind of area. And I don't know if you can make any more money than that, you know, trading the stuff I do. But fucking Nate does it, you know. Like, there's traders out there that do it. You know, Nate's a bad boy. I
Nate's
mean,
a
Nate's a
bad
bad
boy.
boy.
A lot of those guys, the modern rock, you got the LX21s out there. They've got a lot of proteges too that are now seven-figure traders. So, dude, I think it's definitely possible.
Yeah,
Like
so
you're
that's kind
still
of where I've been trying to go.
right, but you're still. I remember when we were talking before. You still would start every single day with a $5,000 account or like a $10,000 account. You might have a little bit
Yeah.
more than that. So, I mean, have you done anything on that side? Have you upped your capital here? Have you upped your share size?
So like the last few months, I've been hitting about 50 G's a month in
Okay.
profits.
Okay.
So I'm like, I've been building it up, and I actually had not had to add more risk to the table.
Right.
I've been getting better at my trading, and I've slowly increased my risk a little bit, but I haven't had to go there yet because I've been fine-tuning my trading to a point where, when I'm on fire, I'm just on fire. I've been able to build it up. So now it's like, all right, so now it's at 50. How do you get to 75? And then, so on and so forth. And, one of the things is that there's a small line between a lot of money and a little, a lot of money and a little money. Dr. Menaker, I was talking to Menaker, I'm like, man, I need to get to like this $100,000 a month kind of zone.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm so far away. And so he's gone through my trades with me, and this really hit me. He's like, well, Kunal, you traded fucking 2 million shares last month in this one account.
Right.
And that's like I got two accounts, I'm about 4 million shares a month or whatever.
Yeah.
So he's like, think about this. He's like, if we're just one penny better in this account at 2 million shares, how much extra profit would you have? And I'm like, I don't know, like $200. And he's like, no, it's 20,000. You do 2 million shares and you add a penny of, just better entry, then guess what? That's an extra $20,000. He's like, it's all in the fine details. You're there. It's just that you got to fine tune it.
Right.
So I never really thought about it like that, though. Like, holy shit, like, I'm always chasing shit sometimes when I'm, like, really feeling it. Like, just boom, gotta get in it, gotta get in it, gotta get in it. And, you totally blow those entries sometimes. He's like, just one penny, man, and you're there.
Right. I am trying to get to $1 million a month type shit. That's what I'm trying to get to, and I figured out how I'm gonna do it. The problem is executing, and then my issue was always mental. It was always mental, and I think where I messed up, just with the whole New York thing, and then leaving New York, and then taking this last 2 months off, was that New York, like you've been to New York, man. New York makes it so that like every day, like you got to come out swinging, and you kind of put the world on your shoulders. I kind of put everything on my shoulders and was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And it was just way too much pressure. It was just way too much pressure. So I've learned to kind of slow it down. I've learned some hedging strategies too. So there's a lot of different things that I'm hedging like everything. I'm hedging like everything right now, which is crazy, but I'm thinking about it. It's more like I train my mind to actually think about it. Whereas before, it was like, okay, this thing's ready to move. Exactly. This thing's ready to move.
Lucci
I'm ready to go.
That's what you do.
So here's, this is how we're going to do it. So, now I'm starting to do a lot of different things, and I definitely feel like I can get there. So, dude, what kind of trading setups like are you have been working for you, in this particular environment or like, recently?
So, I mean, these days, unless something's got like a cattle, you got to be so selective on stocks. Yeah, at least even if you look at the breadth or stuff, the last 10 days, I mean, you see more breakdowns than breakouts, even if the market is up. So you've got to be selective, and you have to basically, number one, ride momentum, and understand that it seems like momentum goes farther than you would expect it. So you got to go in hot momentum, hot money, and some type of near-term catalyst, or like a lot of these IPO stocks are hot. But you just can't go in with like a traditional setup of just like, hey, this is flagging and it's just going to work out. It doesn't go like that. I mean, people are chasing. People are chasing, and there's money flowing into momentum. I mean, I trade this like MBLY stock every day. I mean, this stock is like such a piece of shit. We've been trading since it was like $32 or whatever less, like 2 weeks ago. It's running at 50, and it's like the volume just gets higher. Is it 1 million? And then it goes to 5 million, 10 million, 20 million, and every $10 it just gets crazier and crazier. And mentally, that like this is not something that is feasible, but that's just where the money is flowing. It's going going into GoPro. It's going into MBLY. It's going into these basically burritos.
We got a couple questions here. Let's just start taking all these. We got tons of questions coming in on Twitter and people asking us strategies. There's a guy, Karthik here, is saying, can you please elaborate on your hedging strategies? I don't want to elaborate too much, but basically, when I know through the tape like something's going to stop moving in my direction, but I still want to hold my position, I'll start selling options against that position, which will add some income because, again, like I'm sitting there watching the tape, I'm like, all right, this thing has hit a wall. It's probably going to start slowing down. It might even pull back. So I'll sell some options against that position, add some income, and then build into that same core position. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do right now. Again, it's a lot different than things that I've done before. But it feels good. It feels good. It feels more natural. You know what I mean? It feels more natural. John is saying, could you explain float rotation? Kunal, you want to take that one?
Yeah, so essentially flow rotation. So you got why some of these stocks go exponential. So you see a stock like DGLY. So if you go on, DGLY when it's really moving, its first days, you got a stock that's got 25 million shares in volume. And it's not like it's a dollar stock anymore. This is when it's at $14, $15. But the float on this bad boy is 1.6 million shares.
Right.
So, I mean, think about that. 25 million shares, and you've got 1.6 million shares in float. So, number one, like everybody is expecting it to go down and short it. But there are holders early in the stock. The float's the whole time. It's just fresh money coming in, pushing up this stock. It's a search for supply. And when you got that much volume, the float's just rotating so fast that you can't short it. You can't short it because there's just too much money flowing into it. And you've got new hands every single time.
Right. Okay. All right. We got a bunch of questions here on Twitter. People are asking who's the better cook, me or you. I know you don't cook, bro. I know you don't cook.
I got a chef. Shit.
Do you really have a chef? You got a chef now, bro?
Yeah.
For the house?
Hot dog is gone. I got an empty house now.
Wait, so why is he gone? What happened to your boy?
The boys, Tim, Butt Dog, so Omar's got a girlfriend.
Yep.
So he's wifed up right now. So he's spending the nights at his girlfriend because she doesn't want to stay in a flop house. And Butt Dog and Tim went back to Michigan.
Wow.
They went to Michigan just for the summer. They went for the summer, like the last couple of months. They wanted to see their friends and family and all that stuff. And
yeah, what about you? What about you? That's your place. That's your home too. That's the same friends, bro.
I know, man, but beach time in like Florida is like nuts. Every week, you get new crop of people come in. Like you use Tinder, don't you?
New girls.
I know you're using
girls.
Tinder. So like,
dude, I'm like back and forth with Tinder, man. I'll delete it and then I'll get it back. I'll delete it and then I'll get it back. I'll delete it and then I get it back. It's so that app is so ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
They're talking about valuations of over $1 billion now for Tinder, bro.
Oh my God, it's working, man. It's working.
They're already
it's better than any of this other shit like TripAdvisor. I mean, every week though in Florida, because I live in a vacation town, you get a whole new crop of people in. So why you can't leave during this time of year?
True. All right. So we got a bunch more questions here. We got Edward here. Lucci, what percentage of your trades are hedges versus directional plays? That's a strange question. I would say percentage of trade. I would say they're 30%. I would say they're 30%, something like that. Gabriel is saying, any advice from you guys to let winners ride? Kunal, you got that one?
Hey, let me ask you something on hedging. Because you have obviously you're trading. Last time I had looked last year when we had talked, your hedge fund was at whatever 5 million, 6 million in capital or whatever. So obviously you've got a hedge because in options and whatever 100 to 1. You have one option, it's 100 shares. I mean, you're controlling literally hundreds of millions of dollars worth of stock at times. You've got a hedge. Now, like probably, out of our people that are in this webinar, they've got 10,000, 15,000, 20,000. Right. So, do you recommend hedging like this for people with small accounts? Like for me, I always tell my guys, at some point you may need to do this stuff. But when you have a really, really small account, your best hedge is
to get the fuck out.
Get cash.
Right. Right.
I'm wrong. Get
Right.
out.
Like it's
There's
true.
no
It's
hedge.
true. It's true. For anybody who's got small accounts, you know, $5,000, $10,000, you can't worry right now about hedging. You can't worry about that right now. And remember, like I'm not talking about hedging from you know, the fun perspective where as soon as you put on a trade, you have a hedge. Like I'm still trying to time and make money off of my hedge. But essentially, like it's still helping me out and saving my core position. So again, like it's much more advanced than just the okay, let's buy an option spread so that we're not paying that much, or you know, we're thinking about hedging right off the bat. So anybody with 5,000 to 10,000, the best hedge is for you to get the hell out. Like that is the best hedge for you, and that's the only hedge that you should be thinking about. Anybody who now like really starts to take swings on, let's say, a $50,000 to $100,000 account, you know, then you might want to start incorporating some of these things, you know. But anybody with 5 grand, I mean, you know it as well as me. I mean, that's the rite of passage, you know. You got to work at it. You got to show that you understand tape, understand direction, and you can actually make money. Because if you can't get past that place, forget it. You know, there's no future.
Small account means you got to make good calls.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
You cannot hedge it.
Yeah,
you've got to
exactly.
make awesome calls and get to that point where you have a lot of money in your account.
Right. Julian's got an interesting question here. Do you both invest in other forms of businesses like property or just stock and options? Like, what do you got going over there? I mean, both of us, I know right now, we invest back in our own businesses. I know we both do that. But this one here might have a couple other tricks under his sleeve. I don't know.
Actually, for me, you know, this past year, everything that I do, I invested right back into myself.
Right.
There's only one guaranteed winner. Is what? Investing in yourself. That is your 1,000%. If you're looking, like I have people send me ideas. Do you want to invest in this Quiznos? And you know, I've invested in stuff like this in the past, and it's like, all right, you can make 10 grand a year off this investment. You put 50 grand in or whatever. I mean, it's bullshit because I know if I invest in myself, I'm gonna turn the $100,000 into $1 million. You know, and so it's like, where does the capital flow efficiently that you know is gonna work? So I always invest back in myself, and you know, besides our educational businesses, we have things behind the radar that are in finance that Peter's working on that are game changers that are actually a lot bigger than our educational website businesses.
Absolutely.
You know, we both have hedge funds.
Absolutely.
Lucci is a partner in my hedge fund, Click Fund, him and Peter's put it together. And we got trading platforms we're developing and specialized routing, like Chaim's got the route with IEX that he's making, where the HFTs can't get in. We've got all of these other things that are involved in our business. I mean, that's where the money is. And so I think everything we're doing, even though it's not necessarily an investment in XYZ,
right. Can you give me
a lot of stuff?
Can you give me an example of the shittiest investment that you've made? Give me the shittiest investment that you've made, bro. I'm curious to know what the shit is.
You probably have the same exact thing.
It's probably sure it is.
Shittiest investment I've made is in fucking web designers, SEO guys, internet marketers. You blow $100,000 in a hot second on a website. I was telling Peter this. You know, Peter's telling me, oh, man, we're investing in all this. We're going to turn this. I go, Peter, that's the stupidest shit I ever heard. And he's like, why? I go, because the website, like our website, Bulls on Wall Street, you know, I spent $100 grand on Bulls on Wall Street website that we never launched.
Right.
$100 grand.
Yeah.
It had all the bells and whistles and nothing could piece together. It took forever.
Oh.
And I had to raise money from myself, my personal accounts, and do all this shit.
Right.
The website we have now, I made for $2,000. Yep. And it converted and did everything 1,000 times better than that freaking big load of crap. So when Peter told me that, you know, you guys got all these plans of these, like, oh, we're gonna turn into like this content provider. I'm like, that's the stupidest shit I ever heard. I love the idea, but I go, don't invest $100 grand into some guy that says he can optimize your website. I go, you guys got to do all this stuff, man. If small business means the core people have to do the grunt work, and you have to figure it out and do it on the cheap.
It's a fine line, man. It is a fine line, you know? It's a fine line because you and I are Gujarati, bro. Like, for anybody who's just listening in, like, Gujaratis from India are very, we think we can do everything ourselves. You know, we have that as
Yeah.
sort of a core principle in our nature, right? And it's a fine line, right? You know what I mean? I mean, I know for a fact, you know, that I couldn't get to where I am right now as far as the fun, as far as all the things that Pete's working on, as far as the content that you see on the website now. Like, I couldn't have done that ish myself, and neither could you. I mean,
Not a
you got a
chance.
whole crew. You got
Not
a
a
whole
chance.
crew too.
Yeah.
But it's the way you go about it. So I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
And as far as
I mean,
my
Peter, what he
worst-
does is like, I mean, Peter's genius on so many levels, man. We keep coming
Indeed.
with these ideas, and I'm like, wow. But I will say, these
Yeah.
guys that say they can drive traffic and drive leads and all this,
Yeah.
it's all bullshit. These
Yeah,
people are all bullshit.
I hear that, man.
I spent so much money on this type of stuff. I never got it. You know who drives all our leads? Mary Beth. You know, she goes out and posts on Twitter and she talks to people on the phone, and that's how you make. That's how we make sales. You know, there's
Yeah.
just so many things you can do.
Yeah, yeah. We need a
I
girl
probably blow
for Sang
hundreds
Lucci,
of
bro.
$1,000s on this stuff.
We need a girl for Sang Lucci, bro. We need a girl. Yeah, we need a female face for Sang Lucci right now. That's what we need. We got a question here on Twitter. Let's see. Is it better to trade same stocks every day or do scans for other stocks? And surprisingly, he's talking about you and myself. I trade the same stocks every day, and you do your scans. Do you still run your scans like every single night to
Yeah.
find opportunities
So
and things like that?
I do have. So when the market is doing a certain thing, and there's certain stocks in play. So you have like your GoPros or Locos or MBOYs or whatever's hot.
Right.
You know, I trade those every single day till they die out. So I have like those core stocks that we're just always looking for setups, and I'm watching it and watching the charts and the tape and trying to, all right, this thing's about to go or not go, and I'm taking day trades in them. And then I'm still running my scans to find the stocks that are about to get into the momentum phase or whatever,
Right.
and you know, riding those bad boys up. So I do both.
Okay.
But you got to have, I think, you got to have kind of some core things that you do, you know. And so, like, we always have some stocks that we've traded for months on months sometimes, you know, when they're moving, and you know how they act, you know how they work. They're like your buddies, you know.
Exactly. That goes back to my, you know, in my class, like I teach my kids to, I say kids like they're that much younger than me, but I teach my students to treat stocks like that, like they would a person, right? They're an actual person. It
Yeah.
has a characteristic. They have a personality. It's a she or a he, you know, that kind of situation. So we
Each
get that.
stock has its own person,
Yeah.
its own story of how it acts. There's certain stocks that never break out, but they are awesome on dips. And there's certain stocks that just always do X, Y, or Z. There's certain stocks I trade, they never move between, you know, 10 o'clock and freaking 2 o'clock. You know,
Right.
it's like there's just you learn the story of each one. They're like a person. I mean, I was sitting there. I took a loss in a SPLK the other day. It's like a momentum stock we've traded on and off for a couple of years. And when I lost, I'm like, man, I can't believe she let me down like this. Like, I was like, you know, I was like, what is going on? Like, you never do that. Like, I was so surprised at what she did. And I was like, that never happens. I can go back 100 times and it's never happened.
So Gabriel has a question we didn't get to. Any advice from you guys to let winners ride? I mean, you're not even in that business anymore, right? I mean, you're just in the scalping business. You're cool with the scalp, and that's it. That your day's done, right? I mean, it doesn't hurt you that you left money on the table anymore, does it?
I mean, it depends because of we trade momentum and a lot of PR plays. Some of these stocks, I mean, they might go up 100% in a day.
Right.
So, you know, when I take, like, I had 2 trades yesterday, I took like 10, 15% on, which is great for a day trade, except the fact that they were on 100%. And so you're talking about, you know, a stock that makes your day to a stock that makes your week.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So you gotta, you know, I still gotta let the winners run. You
Okay.
know, no matter what.
Yeah, and Gabriel, what I'm doing, and I feel like I might have a better chance at this now, is I'm holding a swing position that I'm intending to hold through a considerable time, and then I'm basically hedging it at the specific places to build income while I continue to hold that core position. So in the hopes that I catch the bulk of that move. Now, I mean, I'm not going to catch it on a weekly option anymore. I got to play out a little bit, so my return is not going to be like 200 or 300%. But the difference is I can get more size in the monthlies, I can spend more time on it, and then I can add income just by, writing the weekly. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, and hopefully that'll help me, with the winners and things like that. I mean, Gabriel, you got to figure out.
You're not day trading. You're a kamikaze.
Dude, I'm not day trading weeklies no more, bro.
Weekly options anymore?
I am not day trading weekly options anymore. Guys, I am not day trading weekly options.
Boy,
yo, it's like I broke up. It's like I broke up with that girl.
Things have changed.
It's like I broke up with that girl that all my boys wanted me to break up with because they didn't freaking like her.
Did want you to break up with her.
So that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Do you feel like you're a lot less stressed? Because, I mean, your style of trading,
yeah.
I mean, mine is day trading with stocks, but we were actually very similar in that we could be all in at one time on one stock, and we're reading the tape, and this is it, this is the play. I mean, that's how I am, and it's moving fast. It's moving fast, and boom, 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 all day. And it's a freaking long day.
Right. I mean, I still think it's stressful because we still have to work in and out of this thing. So even if I'm less stressed by not playing the weeklies, I'm still stressed by making the right decisions on those swings every single day, and I still have to hedge every single day. I still got to do other things every single day. I still got to watch the market and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think it's any different. Plus, I'm going to be trading with more size too. So I mean, dude, we live in the shit every single day. So this is just what we do,
Do you find it's better for you to trade a little bit slower like it though?
I think it's going to be better. I mean, remember, I've only been trading back for 6 days right now. So we'll see how.
I'm just curious. I got to get to Boston and see how watch you in action.
Yeah, man. I would wait a couple of months.
Literally are sitting there.
I would wait a couple of months because I want to get
you like this in front of the computer. Oh my God! Look at this! Look at the tape, man! Look at this guy trying to flush the order on the route, like talking a mile a minute.
Always, man, always. But now I'm not in the chat room anymore. Well, kind of sporadically in and out. And I'm more focused on the trading every single day versus the Twitter, the Gmail, and all that kind of stuff. So
I did notice that you have been a little bit off the Twitter.
Yeah, man. So I'm definitely there. So we got a question for you here. Which broker do you use, and how do you get locates on some of these small cap names? I'm sure you get this question all the time, don't you?
Yeah. So we have our own hedge fund. The Lucci's a partner in that. His buddy that works for him actually came up with the idea, Peter. We have a hedge fund called ClickFund LP, which is where we have our students trade. Now, ClickFund's doing pretty well. We got 225 traders or something.
Right.
And Peter and Chaim have set up relationships with different clearing firms where we can get the short locates to almost anything. Every blue moon you want, like this DGLY stuff, we couldn't get the locate to that. There were very few. The float is so low. There's so much volume. I mean, you're talking about it's a super, super hard to bar locate. But anything else, I mean, we've been pretty much able to get. And Peter has just mentioned to me recently we were going to be able to add a new clearing firm as a secondary place to find the locates, which is freaking awesome. So we'll have the best locates, in the land.
Right. So again, I mean, anybody who is looking for that kind of broker, that kind of relationship, hit up Kunal. You know what to do. Beverly is saying, I've always been buy and hold, new to day trading. So my question is, how do you find these stocks? I mean, that's such a vague question here, but Kunal, I'll let you take that one. I mean, how do you run your scans? What do you look for in general?
So a couple things that you probably want to do. Number one, I keep like a go-to list of stocks. It's like 100 names essentially of stocks I've traded in the past year. Like names I know that are trending, that have movement, they have the different characteristics that you're looking for: volatility, volume, things of that nature. So I'm flipping through those every day. That way, whenever they have a setup, I see them, and so it's like I don't have to scan for them because I see them every day. They're on my list. And then the secondary types of scans that I do, which are more on the weekends and things of that nature, is, I'm scanning for essentially momentum, volume, some type of near-term catalyst? Was this an earnings breakout? Like earnings breakouts, like things like that. If a stock has, say, a base, for like 6 months, a year, all the big runs always start on an earnings breakout. Tesla, right. GMCR, Netflix. Yep. Yep. You get a stock that's beaten down. All these stocks, GMCR, Tesla, Netflix, they all at some point were beaten down in the past couple of years. Then they sit on a bottom for God knows how many times, sometimes 6 months, sometimes a year.
Yep.
And then some type of catalyst takes them out of that initial range.
Right, which nobody plans for. I mean, the best example of that, guys, was Netflix at $100. She had an earnings call. Nobody was buying those options. The stock opened at like 135, and the highest option that you could buy that evening, because nobody was interested in it, was the 125 strike, and maybe 100 contracts went off for 30 cents. Like, nobody wanted it, nobody thought anything was going to happen, and then bam, she gapped up. Those options paid out like 10,000%, and then for the next earnings call, everybody's running around trying to get that same money, and nobody got that money. So that's exactly right. That's usually how these things work.
That's how the trends start. All trends start at some manner like that. They're getting accumulated at the lows. They have a PR catalyst, and then boom, they're off to the races, and you see them a year later at up 500%.
All right, so Theo's got a good question here. Saying, as an options trader in a euphoric market like this, do you employ different refined strategies to help you determine when bloated pigs like MBLY or GoPro are going to crack? I mean, personally, I can say for myself is that I just sit there and I watch the tape. I watch if that same buying activity is happening, and if it changes a little bit, or it's not that euphoric buying anymore, or let's say there's not all of a sudden massive bids trying to pump up the stock anymore, and things slow down a little bit, then you start testing stuff out. I'll start testing stuff out, and I'll be in a short, and it might not work a couple of times, so I'll take a couple of losses, and then all of a sudden, bam, that setup is there, and hopefully I'm there full size. I mean, that's kind of how I do it. So I just kind of feel around, and I feel around on the tape. How do you short bloated stocks, Kunal?
So, and one of the things that you're really good at that most of these newer traders, or even good, experienced traders, they can't do. You're okay taking a loss, reading the tape, taking a small loss 10 times. Yeah. I notice with the newer traders, I see this in ClickFund all the time, is they take one loss and they're depressed. They take 2 losses. They can lose $50 and they're depressed, because they're not thinking about the RR ratios. When it hits, you're going to get X amount of dollars, and if you lose, you're going to lose this much. So you can theoretically lose 5 times in a row, and you hit the 6th one, you're going to make still 10 times your risk. That type of thing.
Exactly.
I noticed that because people are so emotional and just momentum oriented, you try it. So when you're playing these type of bloated pigs, you're never going to time the top. You just can't do it.
Right.
I mean, the only guy I've seen do it, like Nate, is really good at timing tops, but even he always tries a couple times.
Absolutely.
And he's really good at taking small losses, trying it again, taking a small loss, and then he finally hits it and he gets the big one.
I mean, so would you say that's an experience thing? I mean, would you just recommend for newer traders they just shouldn't go for those trades?
Stay out of the freight train.
Yeah.
You're better off letting a stock actually crack and then making a lower high and a lower low.
Right.
Right? So now you have something confirmed, and then trying to ride it down versus trying to pick the exact top on something that's a low float. GoPro's very low float stock too.
Yep.
So that tons of volume.
I'm short this thing right now. I'm down like maybe $6,000 or something in it. But honestly, like I'm just paying for information right now, because when I when I get that move, bam, I'm in there.
When you get the move, you're gonna see this thing bust down to $50. It just happens to be. How much pain do you get?
Exactly. We got Beverly here asking, what the hell does the tape mean? The tape is your time in sales and your level 2. Kunal, is Beverly one of yours?
No.
Okay. I was like, what are you teaching these people? Let's see. They're asking, what's your typical hold time? So what's your typical hold time, bro?
Hours.
Hours. Okay. Okay.
Hours.
All right. Mine is pretty much the same. I mean, mine has changed now. I mean, previously, for the past 2 years, it's been minutes, it's been hours. Now it's going to be a lot more. So, for example, this financials long position, I've been in for the last 6 days, and I plan to hold that and I plan to hold that for a lot longer. This guy's name is Chutney Sandwich. Look at this.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's awesome in so many ways.
All right, so Kunal, you got any questions on your Twitter feed you want to get before we kill it? We're gonna see each other in Vegas, right? Did you book your flight? I didn't even book anything. I haven't booked shit.
I've got my hotel. Where are you gonna stay at? I'm staying at the Cosmo.
You stay at the Cosmo?
Yeah, I love the Cosmo.
I had a feeling
You love the Cosmo?
stay. Dude, I love the Cosmo. The Cosmo is my favorite hotel to stay at now.
Yes. I can't stay. I mean, I understand. I would have stayed at the Mandalay Bay if I thought you were, but I just can't do it.
All right,
Cosmo,
so
man.
Karthik is saying, let's see, why are you not automating your trading as far as reading tapes? Like, dude, I don't think anybody can automate reading the tape. I don't think it's possible. I still don't think it's possible. I think it's possible to do it to a certain extent and to build a strategy off of it as far as stops and things like that. Building automation to manage emotions, though, that's a cool thing. I would definitely look into that. But you're talking about a lot of work. You're talking about a lot of work as far as so you're talking about the same amount of work that you would do going to work on your emotions yourself. That you have to put forth in building a program and things like that. I don't know, Kunal, what do you think about that? What do you think about having some automation as far as your trading?
I'll give you just a piece of anecdotal evidence. So,
all right.
Modic is maybe the smartest man I've ever met in many different ways.
No doubt.
Maybe the smartest man I've met in many analytical, mathematical ways.
No doubt.
So, even Chaim Modic's automated trading strategies. He works for me, he works for you. If there was a way to automate what we do, he would be the guy to do it. He's maybe one of the smartest men in America.
Right.
Even the thing about automated trading strategies, Chaim had trade machines or whatever. The problem automated strategies give me like a 2% return, and what they use is an intense amount of leverage to jack up the returns.
True.
You can't automate the type of returns we're looking for. Like Lucci is looking for essentially a 100% return a month, basically to make $1 million a month.
Absolutely.
I am looking for hundreds of percent return a month, essentially for the type of day trading I use and the account size I use.
Right.
So you're talking about exponential returns that you cannot generate from computers. You can generate a few percent with automated returns, and then you got to jack up on leverage.
Right.
And we got the smartest man in America working for us, and if he can't do it, I mean, I don't know if it's really feasible.
I mean, another thing is too with automation, again, as Kunal said, like your automated strategies are going for those smaller percentages that they can really duplicate and they can cut down on the drawdowns. As soon as they start, let's say, tape reading, as soon as, let's say, we start trying to machine learn how to tape read, where to get in and out of stocks, that leaves the door wide open for mistakes on your algorithm or for other stuff that you got to watch out for, you got to look out for, and it's not really a codable strategy. It's not really a strategy that can be coded, at least not to the extent that technology is available today. I mean, I personally don't think we can get there with that. Now, as far as the emotional side of things, if there was some kind of an automation as far as that, I would look into that. I mean, I wouldn't shy away from having that conversation. Definitely not.
All my mistakes are emotional.
Exactly. That's
yours.
That's 100%.
10% of your trades may be luck. 10% may be luck where, okay, the stock just didn't work out.
Yeah.
Almost always, at least for me, it's like I chased it. I had too much size, so then I couldn't wiggle around and manipulate my position in a manner where I could, do it right. It's always chased it, too much size, or revenge trade. Right. There's like three things that always pop up.
So we got a question here from Winston. Is a good question here. One of the problems I have is dealing with the spread. Sometimes I miss an opportunity because I'm trying to add liquidity and not pay for the spread. Do either of you worry about the spread or just hit it with a market order? So Kunal, I'll let you answer that one first, and I'll take that one.
For years, I always hit it with the market order.
Right.
But but I also, for those years, didn't make any money.
Right.
So now I'm much more selective. If I can get a better price because the stock is not moving yet, I'll do that. The problem is why you have to hit a market order is because you're chasing the breakout. The real traders are anticipating moves.
Right.
And so they're sitting there getting into the stock while it's just sitting there. You don't have to hit the market because you're anticipating what is already going to be a very high probability of happening. Whenever you have to hit market orders is because you're chasing, because you're getting it on confirmation. But that confirmation is always usually the sell point for the people that are in early.
Right, exactly. So everybody who's in this webinar, you know, that is probably one of the dopest things that was said throughout this whole webinar. It is all the real traders are the ones that are anticipating. You know, we don't want to buy when everybody else is buying. We don't want to send those market orders. Why? Because we're paying up for something that we should have been getting for a cheaper cost all the time. Anytime you're chasing, granted, you know, you might want to add a little bit to a position that you've already been building. You might want to do that, but you're missing the core point here. When you're buying when everybody else is buying, generally speaking here, I would say 19 times out of 20, you know, that price is going to come back on you, and you're going to be able to get it for cheaper. You know, especially in the options world, with wider spreads and less liquidity. That is the whole story right there and then. So anybody who wants to be an option trader and who wants to understand really the core of what it's going to take, the anticipation factor is freaking everything. That shit is freaking everything, man.
Confirmation is forced. It just is. There's no other way to say it.
Indeed. All right, so a couple more questions, and then we'll call it here. Let's see, what do we got? The question for Kunal here: do you spend time routing orders, or do you have a couple of favorite routes, maybe beneficial routes that you use, and just go with those, or are you spreading out all over the place?
So Chaim Bodik, who's our risk manager, along with Peter, they have us in a few different routes. So we have a ClickFund, our own routes that we're using. Right. So we've gone away from the smart routing of using like Lamppost and some of these routes. Right. There are certain routes that HFT's algos are always in. Right. Then there are certain routes that are free routes, and the reason that they're free is because that route is taking the other side of the trade, and they know that 90% of traders, more than 90% of traders, lose. So they take the other side of the trade on all your trades, and that's how they make money, because they know you're going to lose. So they're shorting your plays. And I used to see it when we used to use Lamppost. Like, I'd be riding in a breakout, and then boom, Lamppost would be shorting my plays. I can see it because I'm reading the tape, and I'm like, who could have exactly 4,633 shares on this thing, and it's Lamppost? And they literally told us we couldn't use the route because Mary Beth went on a hot streak. Yeah. So she was pushing the route. Right.
And they were taking the loss. They were taking the loss,
and they just said, I mean, it's so shady. So they're taking the loss because they're taking the other side. So they just say, you guys can't use the route anymore. Right. And so that route was shut off to us completely because Mary Beth goes on a hot streak and busts the route. So that's a shady thing. So you can't go there either. So Chaim and Peter have us in a couple of routes that are more friendly. We use Spider and a couple other ones. And Chaim has made his own route with them, IEX, that we're going to be. I'm testing at ClickFund right now. That's going to be pretty good. So we use our own routing that kind of bysteps all the computers.
Cool. So for anybody who is like just starting out and doesn't know tape or has no idea what the hell Kunal is talking about, when we're talking routes and things like that, like you guys got to start thinking about what happens when you click that enter to send your order. Like when you're sitting there looking at your screen or whatever it is, and you get a ping back saying you got filled at X, Y, and Z, like you don't know how many other hands that order passes through. You know what I'm saying?
10.
So when you send that order, like I'm seeing it, Kunal's seeing it, all these other people are seeing it and assessing, like, can we make money off this dumbass right here? Can we do this right now? And then whatever that is, it's all automated systems, all that happens before your order actually hits. So any of you guys that are sending, you know, smart routes here or auto execution routes, that's essentially what they're doing. You know, the brokers make a shit ton of money off their own routing here, and you guys have no idea what's happening to your order. All you get is a ping back saying, hey, you got this fill, and you're not asking any questions. So when you get into that world, now you're talking about some of the stuff that him and I deal with on a daily basis here.
Smart route means somebody's taking advantage of you. So like prop firms always give you a smart route, and they say, oh, we're going to route it to 10 different places. It's the fastest. What that means is, say you want to buy something at 10, they delay it a half a second.
Right.
And in that half a second, they let all these people, the 10 different routes, take a look at it and determine, is this smart, is this good flow or toxic flow? Right. And then what they're going to do is figure out who can take advantage of that flow, and then they come and smack you down. That's why sometimes you see such bad fills. So like I traded through Ameritrade as a professional day trader in the beginning. And I always routinely got the worst fills. And if you Google it even right now, Ameritrade, what they make a quarter of their profits from and half their revenue from is payment for order flow, which means that you hit enter, Ameritrade sells it off to 10 different people, HFTs, hedge funds, Citadel, and Citadel is always the big one, and they gain the order, and then you get filled after they decide what they want to do with your order. So you hit enter, there's a delay, you get filled, but in between there, somebody has gained your order, and so you don't even get the right fill.
Right. And again, like that's why I'm sitting here laughing about this, because not a lot of, mostly, you know, most people who sign up to our services, most retail guys, especially those signing up to the Robinhood app or Options House or Options Monster or whatever, they want to be a baller trader or whatever, you know, nobody has a clue these things are happening. So Kunal and I are in a place where we are eventually going to try to bring all this information to you guys in a very easy to understand kind of, you know, format and everything. So
Robinhood says right on there, TechCrunch did an article, Robinhood just says right on the page that the commissions are zero. How Robinhood makes money is payment for order flow.
Exactly.
So instead of charging you $5 for the commission, when you do a 2,000, 3,000 share order, they're going to sell it off to an exchange or a route, and they're going to be paid $15 for it. So they actually have no reason to charge you commissions because they're going to smack your order in some manner, and you're going to get a terrible fill, and they're going to get $15 out of it.
All right. So last question here that we're going to take, and this is you know, before we start talking shit here, Reginald here has a question here. Kunal, would you ever trade options?
I've tried. I suck at them.
Okay, but come on. Like, would you ever take it seriously? Would you ever take it seriously and be like, okay, I'm going to trade options right now?
I
think you're too far into your career to make that switch. Like, you can't make that switch.
I don't even think you can. I did try. I mean, part of me is like I'm very instinctual. I find that the more I think, the worse I am. Like I'm like one of those. I shouldn't think at all. And so in options, it's not just about the direction of the stock. You got to think about the pricing and decay, and there's other things that come into play. And all of those different things, they turn into a big shitstorm of I got to think too long.
Right.
You know, and so I'm not being more. So what I found when I was trading options was that I didn't understand them, but I found that I was very reactive to moves.
Okay.
So like the move already started, and then I'm calculating all this stuff and buying options. But like you need to be in way before and have.
You got to be way before, exactly. So what you were saying about anticipation is like 2 times harder when you're in the options, because not only are you anticipating on the stock, you're anticipating on everybody else reacting into that option and what they need to see on the stock before they do. So that's essentially, so absolutely, you're kind of adding on to it. So, dude, I would say though, like here and there, like for example, this short GoPro thing, like instead of taking it on an equity thing, just throw out like 10 contracts on a couple weeks out or 3 weeks out or something like that. You know, on some crazy plays. I would do that.
No. And options on a longer term play, I definitely get the gist of it. It's just day trading options. That's what I tried to do. Much like me and you are so similar in ways. I tried to do exactly what you were doing before, right? It's just day trading these bad boys, because that's where you can really take a little money and make a lot of money if you nail them. The problem is that, you know, you can also lose a lot. But when you're hot in that market, you're day trading options, you can take a very small amount of money, and if you get hot, you can literally turn it into millions of dollars.
It's true.
It's true. Just blows my mind.
It's true. That's the appeal, man.
But it's hard.
Indeed. All right, Kunal, you have any parting words, man, before we link up in Vegas, man? Vegas is going to be fun. Anybody who is interested in the Vegas trip, check out tradersforacause.org. Obviously, you got Bulls on Wall Street here. You got Sang Lucci. Anytime you guys need anything, you know how to find us on Twitter and all that. Kunal, you got any parting words for everybody here?
No. Hey, Charlie Parker, I know I missed some of your questions. You can email me, Kunal, KUNAL00@gmail.com. I'll make sure to get to them.
Awesome.
Sometimes the answer is too long for a webinar, but KUNAL00@gmail. I'll make sure you get them.
All right, everybody, Kunal, man, let's make some trades together, man. Let's make a couple trades together. All right, okay? I'm gonna send you some trades that I want you to make, and you're gonna send me some trades. So whatever you tell me to do. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So whether it's equity shares or whatever, let's make some trades together, man.
Are you gonna be trading in Vegas?
Nah, I don't think so. I mean, I'll be holding my bank position, but that's basically it. You know, that's basically
so
it.
I'm getting there on Tuesday. So I'm getting there Tuesday. So
I'm getting there Tuesday too. So we're gonna have fun. We're gonna have fun before all the parties.
You're staying Mandalay Bay?
Nah, I haven't booked yet, dude. I might just go to Cosmo, man. I might go to Cosmo. All right, guys. Take care, and Kunal, see you soon, man.
All right, peace.